Hi. We have 1 week till Memorial Day, and that's kind of why I'm in my bathing suit because it was mad hot today, and I've basically been in my bathing suit all day. It was like 90 today. Also, I just didn't have time to change it. I didn't want to hear it from my mom like you're 10, you're late, so I just didn't feel like dealing with all that. Okay. What?
Okay.
Okay. Oh wait. Yep. Okay. Okay. Hi, Greta Pilgrim. How are you? Okay, so you're gonna introduce yourself. You're just gonna sit there and just smile pleasantly. It's fine. I can totally just
Well,
do
I'm
this.
just kind of I'm just trying to analyze the why I'm in a bathing suit. But it's okay.
I mean, because I didn't want to be late. Oh, we have a special guest.
We have a special guest.
We have someone who's going to be on. I'm very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be coming up in. I want to say, well, Brandon, you can let me know. Because I don't know if he's on yet. So anyway, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, did you watch Pause with Sam J?
Pause. I
Yeah,
love Sam
it's a
J.
new show. Yeah, it's a new show. Hi, Alicia. It's a new show.
Yeah.
I just like randomly found it. It was really good.
Did you see her stand up
Yes.
specials?
Yeah, we talked about
about
that.
it. Yeah, I really like it. I saw Pause promoted, but I don't think I paid attention to when it was going to air.
I didn't see it promoted. I didn't see anything. It was really.
It was on HBO Plus or something like that.
HBO Max.
Max. Yeah.
It's really good, and I've told like everybody I knew. I was like, oh my god, you gotta watch this. She had this really interesting interview with two black conservatives. I don't know if I would really like call them that because they
black
admitted
conservatives.
Yeah, they admitted like when you think about black conservative, what do you think of? And
I think of Lost.
Well, so there was a man and a woman, both very young, and the man said, "Well, I think," or yeah, he said, "I think about," or I think Sam J said something like, "I think about," what's her name? The that black woman, Candace
Owens.
Um, yeah, Candace Owens. I flipped her book around at Barnes and Nobles down the street. It's like, get out of here. But anyway, they were talking about that, and these people they really didn't fit into that framework. It was more so like, and they brought up some good points, and honestly, I was like, I agree with you. It wasn't black conservatism in the Tim Scott vein of conservatism. It was more like the guy said, look, Malcolm X said that we have to do for ourselves. That's conservative. Like,
oh, it's not.
Yes, it is. He said that we have to do for ourselves as opposed to waiting for somebody to come and help us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, but I do think they were conflating pull up your bootstraps, like that type of trope that
Booker T. Washington,
that the GOP uses with that. But I thought it was really interesting because they did. I mean, they basically were like, look, when it comes to liberals, I don't really like they basically pander to black people, and when it comes to the GOP, they don't like black people at all. And case in point, Joe Biden. I mean, it was too late, to change your vote or whatever. But Joe Biden, I'm like, I was high key offended when he got on the Breakfast Club in New York, that morning talk show,
mm-hmm.
and was talking about, if you don't vote for me, then you're not black.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, but you're not black, so I need for you to for real calm down. And the whole hot sauce in my bag thing with Hillary, I'm like, it's just really. I find it offensive, and so I think that they did make. Think they did make some good points. I do.
I don't. Well, okay. I'm not saying they didn't make good points. I'm saying that do for self does not, as a construct, fall in line with conservatism,
mm-hmm.
right? Do for self, I would say, is probably more of an activism perspective. And in this country, the notion that black people would do for themselves
Mm-hmm.
is cordoned off in the realm of, oh, well, that's unusual for y'all Negroes. Whereas if you think about the numbers of Black people who migrated from the South to the North,
Mm-hmm.
were looking to earn their own incomes and own their own homes after the farms, etc., the land, which they barely had, but the little they had was being taken away from them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go along with the notion
But
of.
you didn't even see it.
I'm just saying I'm not going along with the notion of do for some. Listen,
I didn't go along with it initially, but I wouldn't classify them as conservatives. Also, like when the segment first came on, I was like, "Here we go," and by the end, I was like, "Well, I mean, I think conservatism is the wrong word. I think they really are kind of looking for." I mean, I get it. Like, I understand why a lot of people feel disenfranchised, and they feel, not a lot, but some people feel disenfranchised and they're really irritated. I think that the two-party system is terrible. I do.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah,
but
I think there needs to be something else. And I think they were definitely like hitting the nail on the head as far as like something else.
Did they describe themselves as Black conservatives?
They did, but. I kind of feel like, well, they said, well, we don't agree with they said they don't agree with like maybe half of what the conservatives are saying. They don't like Trump. They don't like like how the Democrats handle things. They're not into libertarianism. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just kind of felt like y'all just so at the end she was like, y'all just need your own party.
Exactly.
And I agree.
Exactly. All right. So for that, I would say I agree. It's not easy to label, right? It's just not easy to label. You think about, for example, where I was going a minute ago, which was, when people think of immigrants, they largely think of immigrants coming from outside the United States. But there was a whole series of years when we had immigrants within the United States, and that's what I was referring to, Black people who migrated from the South to the North, looking for better opportunity, believing that there would be a decrease in racism, which we know wasn't true. But so it's hard to say what party sort of covers all the bases of the things that you're looking for,
or even most.
Yeah, it's
honestly
right. It's tough. It's not, but yeah. There was an article in the New York Times yesterday that said, and I think the number was, I think I may have sent you $4 billion the federal government has set aside for non-white farmers to keep up their lands. And the headline really is about the anger of white farmers saying that this is racist.
No one cared. No one. It's like nobody asked you for your opinion on that. That's the thing.
It's
so whatever. I don't care. Be mad.
It is, it's wild. It's wild how everything can be turned upside down. Here it is. It is that a $4 billion, it's a $4 billion fund that the U.S. government has set aside in order to try to help out diverse, I'll call it, farmers, but non-white.
Non-white meaning?
Not white.
Right. I mean, that could be a lot of different people.
That's right.
Right.
But it's not white. And white farmers who dominate farming, the industry of farming in this nation, are outraged.
Well, you know what? Again, nobody asked them. And like, I don't know, go call your congressman. Okay, so also on the Sam J show, pause, I mean, it was really good. It was 30 minutes of jam-packed blackness. So she basically said, listen, if we're going to, as a people, agree upon what we want, like we have to be willing to accept everybody. So she was like, like niggas we're hot dog necks. Like people like niggas who were intergalactic. Like they had all kinds of stuff. So, and she said it was sponsored by Crown Royal because there were 10 commandments and they were actually printed on velvet and they were stitched into like the Crown Royal bag, right? So the first one is Article 1, all niggas are created equal. Okay. Article 2, you have the right to catch these hands. Okay. Article 3, take your shoes off in Granny's house. Article 4, Stacey Dash can get it, meaning she said the unwoke niggas need love too.
Mm-mm.
Article 5, the cookout doesn't exist. Stop inviting white folks. Article 6, Nate or nigga, all this is entertainment. Article 7 is leave Tyrese alone. He was on a Coke commercial. Like, we should not be going to him for any type of social commentary on anything. Article 8, if you're gay, black, and a woman, you get to do whatever you want. Article 19, the 13th.
How did you get to 19 already?
No, Article 9, sorry.
Oh.
Article 9, the 13th Amendment still stands, obviously, because, like, okay, we're not doing slavery. And Article 10 is the remix clause, meaning that anybody, first of all, white people cannot comment, amend, like, they're not involved in this. But anybody has the right to remix, who's black? Remix, amend, you know, we can come to some sort of a consensus on that, but we have the right to change these amendments as we collectively see fit, right? So the nigga flag was the diplomats flag, like diplomats from Harlem, like Cameron, and Return of the Mac was the nigga anthem, and they sang it. They had a chamber orchestra. Not orchestra, but they had chamber music. It was good. It was really, really good. It was really, really good.
What was Article 5 again?
Article 5 is the cookout doesn't exist.
We're saying it doesn't exist so we can hide it from all the people.
No, like it never existed. Like it doesn't exist. Therefore, stop inviting white people. Like what is this like? What is this mythological cookout? Like, first of all, I never even knew that people had family reunions until I was like 13.
That's because you didn't have any family around.
Well,
you.
exactly. And all I'm saying is, do we have cookouts? No, we have barbecues, right? Okay. A cookout implies we're in a park.
Oh, wait.
A barbecue implies you at the house.
Okay, so listen. When I was a child growing up on welfare in Harlem, it was called a cookout.
Whether you were at the house or in the park.
They ain't nobody had a house. Everybody had an apartment.
Okay.
And nobody cooked out in the apartment. It was not done.
Y'all didn't go to the park like they.
We went to the park with the little things, the barbecue things sticking up out of the grills.
Right.
That was a cookout.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So the cookout actually does exist.
It exists.
It's an economic, isn't it? It's an economic circumstance whether you have it at your house.
I don't think so.
Well, if you ain't got no house, you can't have a barbecue.
Well, what do black people in Martha's Vineyard call it?
Oh, because you think black people in Martha's Vineyard were poor?
No, I'm just saying they're not poor. That's what I'm saying. What do they call it? A soiree?
They call it barbecue. Okay. They call it barbecue, but when I was growing up, we didn't call nothing a barbecue. It was a cookout.
Yeah, I was always like, why are people outside? I mean, I had only been to things at people's houses, like in their backyard. So I was like, why are you in the park though?
Because
I mean, I saw people.
That's where we had trees and grass, and that's where they had the grills.
Well, you didn't take me there. We had barbecues.
No, because by then we were in an economically different category. We weren't trying to find a breeze. Oh, it's hot out here. Let's go to the park.
Okay.
Remember, so I used to call Riverside Park, right? Riverside Park in New York.
Riverside Park.
I used to call Riverside Park Riverside Park Beach, because on any given day, now don't anybody jump down my throat, but there would be hordes of Puerto Rican families in Riverside Park.
I mean,
but this is not a beach. They took everything but getting in the water to Riverside Park, right? Mm-hmm. So at Riverside Park, birthday parties, balloons, everybody got and the metal grill that's sticking up out of the ground, and they got blankets and music and chairs. And
you know what I learned on Deezus and Miro? Do you know Dominicans bring a pot of spaghetti to the beach?
Oh God!
I've never been.
God.
I was invited to Orchard Beach by my friend.
I went to Orchard Beach.
I was like, I don't know.
But see, you didn't grow up poeing in the ghetto.
I didn't want to go, is what I'm saying. Well, I was like, I could always just take the train to the village and do that, or stay at the house.
If you wanted to go to the water, you went to.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want
to Orchard Beach, but I didn't go because that was the Bronx. I mean, you weren't really going up to to that area.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really want to go.
We would go to Rockaway, far Rockaway.
Yes.
We'd go, right. So
which is better.
Well,
it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it was fine. Okay, you guys. So we have our first interview.
Is he here?
Yes, he's here.
Okay.
Yes, he's here. His name is Kirk Brown. I almost said Kirk Franklin. His name is Kirk Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And he is he's associated with Melanin Meetups. I believe he's the founder of Melanin Meetups. Yes. And so we're going to talk to him because I read an article about him recently and his experience with plantations, specifically the Whitney plantation in Louisiana, and how he contacted them and basically started a conversation that enabled the Whitney plantation to but to stop with the white foolishness at the plantation. So,
well, they refocused the emphasis to include.
They focused the emphasis in the right place.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we have our first guest
ever,
Kirk Brown. Yay! So we're just gonna wait for him to come on, which should be momentarily or in post haste. Anyway, while we wait for that, did you hear? Oh, here it is. Yay.
Oh, there we go.
Hi,
how are you?
How are you? Let me turn the
I'm
volume
doing
up so
well.
we can hear you a little better.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great. Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles at home right now.
Oh, okay.
We're in LA too.
Yeah, we're in LA.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Studio City.
Okay, what area?
Studio City.
Oh, okay. So you're over the mountain.
Where?
You're over the mountain. Over the hill, right?
Oh, okay.
No, I knew this was coming because it was like, oh, you're in the valley. Oh, yeah. No, I knew that.
Well, I just want to say that for all the questions out there, yeah, they got Black people in Studio City.
Yeah.
When we first moved out here, there were very few.
There's more.
Now there's first of all,
more.
there's not a lot of Black people in LA, period, as
right.
you,
That's true.
Kirk, can attest to. But there's more in Studio City these days. Anyway, so welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I read an article about you. I believe it was in Travel Noir. And I also read an article.
What happened to our camera?
Hold on one second.
Kirk, can you still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just see you.
Hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter and her technology.
No, I don't know why it keeps doing that, but we're going to get this fixed in 1 second. Here we are.
There you go.
Sorry. So I read an article about you in Essence and also in Travel Noir that explained how you went to the Whitney plantation down in Louisiana. It's in Louisiana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And first of all, I want to commend you for going to a plantation because I'm not doing that. But when you went there, why did you actually want to go to the plantation?
Well, originally I wanted to go for my 30th birthday to Berlin. I wanted to just go to Germany, and then I was going to go to Auschwitz and Dachau. And as I say, the ancestors talked to me, and then I just was like, my mom and my sister had went to New Orleans and they loved it. So I was just like, let me go. And then I get there and then I'm just like, let me go and check out just a plantation. I mean, I'm from Virginia, so I've grown up around that. But then I saw what the Whitney plantation was doing, and I just had to go out there and I had to see it for myself. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that before. So that's what inspired me.
So I want to back up just a bit because I'm trying to get to, for your 30th birthday, you wanted to go to Dachau and Auschwitz. And what is it that made you want to go to places of such terror and horror?
Yeah, for me, I think what it was through Melanin Meetups. I mean, the African-American experience is so vast and our story is so fragmented. And so I was inspired in terms of how a country was able to pay homage to a group that had went through ethnic cleansing, genocide, if you will. And so then you start to connect the dots with us and our own country and how there's always this resistance whenever we coalesce or even try to honor who we are. And then, I mean, we don't even need to talk about our leaders getting assassinated when they stand up for our rights.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
No, no worries.
Do
You want me
not
to keep
switch
going, or you want me
to
to?
another camera?
Yeah, because I don't know why this keeps happening, but I'm gonna switch it in a second.
So
Here we go. Camera, Sony, FaceTime.
so you were looking for, Kirk, you were looking for some example of how a nation that had practiced genocide seemed to have reconciled.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw that as a source of inspiration. And I just decided to, I don't know, that's where I said the ancestors talked to me. I did a 180 and just went down to New Orleans. And then that's what led me to the Whitney plantation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then so you went there.
Mhm.
I mean, what was your experience like? Did you get upset? Did you cry? Like
Yeah.
like how did you feel in the moment?
It's funny. Well, it's not funny, but there were two plantations for the tour. And the first one was the Whitney plantation. And the second one was, let's just say it was Gone with the Wind type vibes. So when I went to the Whitney plantation, I didn't expect to see things like tribes where these people were, where these enslaved folks were coming from. I didn't expect to know more about their story. I didn't even expect to see a wall that was talking about cultural erasure in terms of their names. And I think that's what really stuck out for me the most, because my family's from the Jim Crow South. And then my name itself, Kirk, even was picked for assimilation. So to see these names, these African names, be crossed over to, have them be anglicized, that was incredible. So I mean, it was just a bag of emotions, like anger, sadness. It was intense, but I needed to do it. So
So the Whitney plantation, it sounds like they had actually done the work.
Yeah.
This wasn't you walking into.
No. I was so inspired that I decided to join the board.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. No, I can't take credit for what the Whitney was doing before I got there. I was just so inspired and moved that I reached out to the team, Donna, Dr. Banner, and John. I was just like, yo, how do I get a part? How do I become a part of this? What can I do? And then, doing the whole interview process, and they came out to LA, and the rest is history.
Did they? So are the people who I guess are responsible for the what am I trying? The tour, the program. Like, are there Black folks involved?
Yeah, there are. Yeah, the board is predominantly Black, and they do a phenomenal job of outreach too, in terms of who runs the museum and whatnot. And yeah, there's Black people for sure.
Right. I was mentioning to Imani before we came on that I was inspired by the photograph of the 15 Black doctors when they went to the Whitney plantation and had their photos taken, and said that they were the dream.
Their ancestors' wildest dreams, yeah.
Exactly. And so my husband is from New Orleans, the whole other part of the family, and they're all still there. And Imani went to school there. I
went to Xavier.
Okay.
Right. And I never could get to the bonfires on the levee. And there's certain kinds of local traditions that occur. And I never wanted to go to a plantation until I read about the Whitney plantation. And that came about after I saw the photo of the 15 Black doctors who took their picture there. And so I was inspired to say, okay, now we've been stranded, I'll use that word, here in LA with the pandemic. But my goal is, when we go, start getting back to New Orleans with some regularity, is actually go and visit that. I went to the Elmina Castle in Ghana, the door of no return.
That's where I want to go next. Yeah.
Have you been there?
No, I want to go next. Yeah.
Yeah. I was immobilized when I got inside, and sobbing in a corner because I could feel the pain and the anguish and it is unlike anything. And I imagined that the only place that could give me a similar feeling would be if I'd gone to a plantation. So I'm very interested to get my visit to Whitney set up.
Yeah.
It will temper it a bit because I know it's more honoring and respecting what our ancestors went through, as opposed to, oh, let's get married on a plantation.
Yeah, Jill Scott had tweeted something, and she was like, you don't see people getting married at Auschwitz, and it's true. I mean, 100%. It's the same thing. I'm like, I don't understand like the level of, well, I do, but the level of disconnectedness that a white person would have to have in order to say, you know what, let's go have a joyous occasion in a place where people were raped and tortured for hundreds of years. It sounds fantastic.
I think that I did want to add too, even the fight that we're in right now, these homes, I think the more we begin to honor these homes, the more that they can create a sphere of reverence around us as Black people within the country, right? And to your point, these are, these labor homes, as I call them, are the roots of systemic racism. That's why how we got labeled Black and they got labeled white and so forth, right? And it's not talked about as much. And I mean, and I get it, I understand it. But these homes represent so much. I mean, this is ground zero for us. And I know it's hard we have enough trauma on top of our experience, on top of our individual experience, right? But it really is important to begin to pay homage to these homes and understand that this is where it all went down. This is how it started, right? This is truly how we birthed the country. So respect needs to be given.
I think it's spoken of differently. For example, when you talk about the Holocaust, right? For us who are the descendants of enslaved Africans in this country, we're almost made to believe that our existence begins with slavery, right? I mean, there's name a public school, name a private school. There's very little historical conversation that ensues prior to slavery.
Right.
And then I had the experience. I imagine, I don't know where you went to school, but I imagine you had the experience. But as a kid in Harlem in Catholic school, when slavery was mentioned, and there was only a couple of Blacks in our class, everybody turned around and looked, and they look at the Black kid, and my attitude was like, keep looking at me, I'm gonna jump up and punch you in your face. What are you looking at?
Look at yourself.
And but on the other hand, there is not the denial that slavery exists. There are still people who deny that the Holocaust existed, but we as the descendants of Africans didn't end up in a very small elite group controlling banking, controlling media, our paths were different. And for many of them, the money and the intellect and the resources that came from Europe. For us, they didn't come to us from Africa because we were cut off, right? Because the slave owners cut us off. No name, no religion. You don't know what tribe. You don't know what nation. You don't know anything. And we're just here. So we were taught to believe we were, I can't say conceived, but we hatched.
Yeah.
We hatched out of slavery.
People.
Yes.
Right.
Slavery hatched us. And I think that is something that going to the Whitney Museum and your quest to have these plantations, what did you call them? Labor houses, right?
Labor homes.
To have them reclassified will help the future generations of us in this country.
Yeah, 100%. And, I can't speak on the Jewish experience or the Jewish American experience, but I will talk about, we're not that far removed from slavery. Like my granddad was a sharecropper, right? In Tuskegee. So all of these things, and you want to talk about Jim Crow South and how even that, I don't want to call it, like, what should I call it? Not a regime, but even that type of government, right? Just how these structures went to go on and inspire horrible regimes around the world, horrible atrocities, right? Partly inspired the Holocaust. Yet when it comes to, our experience in honoring it, it really is, it's fascinating. It's met with so much resistance. I always say that, Black is the antithesis of white. I can only speak as an American in this country. And that there's like an emotional blueprint, like of reactivity, that anytime we try to honor Black Lives Matter, anytime we try to do something to try to uplift us or try to deal with our own trauma, it's just met with so much resistance. Mm-hmm. It's in our DNA. But when we begin to, I truly do believe this, to your point, thinking long term, everybody's fighting multiple fights. This is my fight. This is what I know I can do, right? Thinking long term, yes, I want a young Black boy or girl to walk into a classroom 20 to 30 years from now, open up a textbook and see that these plantations, these homes, these labor homes are treated with respect, and that they don't allow weddings, they don't allow drinkings. It's not glamorized as Gone with the Wind. The architecture is beautiful. There's no doubt about that, right?
Right. We can stop calling them plantation shutters or there's something else, but yes, to your point.
Yeah, and I think that that's the interesting thing about this. These homes are gorgeous, but the history and who built them and what was going down on these grounds, right? I mean, it's funny. It's just like, it's not funny. I'm saying it's like the level of cognitive dissonance that we see in the country right now. It's just like these homes also represent that. So we really have to start, at ground zero if we want to move forward, not just as Black Americans, but as a country as a whole. So that's just Kirk, what I believe.
Kirk, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got this voice and how you got this commitment, because, I'd love to say that, so many of us have this awareness and this perspective, but I'd be lying if I said that. So tell us a little bit about how you came to see what you saw and then take those steps.
Yeah, I should probably start with my family. So all my family's from the South, Alabama, Tuskegee, Birmingham, and Selma. So growing up, I was given the real side of history, but at the same time, I was going to schools where, America just came out of thin air, right? And then from there, this is the part of the Black American experience that needs to be talked about more and how nuanced it is, because I always say, there are people that came to this country and want to live the American dream, and there were people that were already in this country that were trying to live the American dream. It's just as hard. My parents' sole focus for me was to get an education. My dad wanted me to go to an Ivy League school. That was his mindset, mom's mindset too. I did that for them. I went to Penn, did the Wharton School. From there, worked a little bit in New York, and then moved out to Los Angeles. And it wasn't until actually the election of Trump, that's when I said to myself, what do I need to do? I had my own little wake up call. I said, what do I need to do? How do I fight this fight? And that's when all of us came together. I've always been inspired by think tanks and how influential they are and how they can increase, whether it be policy or just help with effective measures of uplifting certain groups. But with that being said, I was just inspired by that. And that's when I was just like, let's just go ahead and young Black professionals coming together and let's do what we need to do to help our community move forward. So that was Melanin Meetups.
Well, that's commendable. Tell us a little bit about Melanin Meetups.
Right. So Melanin Meetups, we started in 2017. And then our log line is that we create private, safe spaces for young Black Americans to come together, to heal themselves, connect with one another, and advance our community through industry and policy. Everything was going great in 2020. We were ready. And then COVID hit. So we're rolling out our online virtual meetups. We did that. We started that in April. We just had our first industry speak with Angelica Ross from Pose, which was really cool. For Pride Month, we're doing Alfonso David, head of HRC, next month. And then we have I wanted to share a big announcement. It's not confirmed yet, but we're rolling out our Black TED Talks, if you will, called Illuminate. We had to restart those virtually. So we have a really, really cool lineup, hopefully for ahead of Juneteenth next month. It's going to be political. So that should be awesome. But yeah.
Nice.
Great.
No, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
As one of the people who's probably of the generation of your parents, if not a little older, I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you. I'm very encouraged that there are certainly warriors still among us. We tend to not necessarily classify our young men and young women as such, but it's important that I think we acknowledge who they are and what they are. I like how we're calling people king and queen. I like that, right? But I also want to say out loud that people are, when people are warriors, because sometimes it takes that too, in order for us to realize that I go through life thinking of every day as a skirmish in the overall war. I may not win every skirmish, but I'm going to win the war. And that's my perspective on how we as Black people are going to have to deal with this, that it comes at us from every way, every day. Yeah. And there's no way to let your guard down. It's just dangerous to let your guard down.
I will say, I think our generation, Imani, I think you're in my generation too, right? Millennial?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. Never mind.
No, I mean, I'm 45.
She's 45.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
I'm 69.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay. Yeah.
I will say, well, even Gen Xers, right? I think that we're students of history. We're not. It's just like there's a really cool T-shirt where it's just like, I forget what it says. It's just like, I am not my ancestors, I'll throw hands, or something like that.
Right.
And I think that, and I think that, but
our ancestors threw hands.
What?
Our ancestors threw hands.
Yeah, no, I think that it's just there's a, and even when I even say hands, right, take it a step further, like intellectually, we really are students of history. We've seen it, we understand it. Even those that don't really, like, maybe they're not into it, they feel it, they know what they need to do. Like, everybody seems to be like ready. What the ready is, what the ask is, that's what Melanin Meetups is all about. That's why we're having these meetups and leveraging industry to do it. Because the ask is changing within the 21st century. I mean, look at what happened last year. So
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tomorrow is actually the anniversary of George Floyd's lynching, I will say. How I know that's very heavy. I actually was interviewed last week by the Undefeated and ESPN about it. It was really even the panel discussion was really emotional.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think that you'll be paying more attention to tomorrow? Like, will you take a mental health day? Like, will you give yourself, like, some time to kind of just have some mental space? Or is for you, will it be just kind of business as usual? Which isn't a bad thing.
No, right. That's a really good question. And I should be candid. Like, I've never seen the video. I
haven't either.
I refuse to watch the video.
Yeah.
Listen, I have enough trauma as is. Besides, that's a whole other thing that I'm unpacking in therapy. And again, this is what I'm talking about, though, right? It's just like on top of our individual traumas, the Black American experience and witnessing Black death and Black pain, whether now it's just like even the content that is coming out, it's just like, I don't want to see Black pain anymore. I understand that that's part of our story and it needs to be told, don't get me wrong. But when you have like even a day like tomorrow, right? I don't know. That's a really good question because with trauma, right? It's not saying that I live in a state of denial, no, but I'm able to compartmentalize things, and that is a little unhealthy.
Black people, we're the greatest compartmentalizer.
I mean, truly. And so, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I know we're going to make a post on our Instagram page and social. Yeah, what
when
a
I
time.
said business as usual, I didn't mean like, oh, are you just gonna, like it's not a big day for you. What I meant is that for some people, it's just the gravity of the situation is, and the reminder of it is just so painful.
Yeah.
That it's like, let me just do what I need to do. And this is something, because there's going to be a lot of spotlight on it tomorrow.
100%.
It's kind of like how 9/11 it was handled in the media and still is kind of handled in the media. It's like you can't get away from it. And so for some people, I think that they're just like, you know what, I just want to go on about my business tomorrow. I don't really necessarily want to be inundated with images or just discussions about George Floyd.
Well, let me just throw this out here as a person who managed and controlled news media for a while. In the world of news, video that captures someone's attention is called good pictures. Oh, I got good pictures. And good pictures these days most often will show up on a newscast of somebody careening down the highway at 70, 80, 90 miles an hour and police cars chasing behind them. And in most instances, it ends with the person ultimately being arrested. In the world of news media, George Floyd's lynching would fall into the category of good picture, but nobody will use that phraseology,
right?
Because it's very insensitive. But tomorrow, I would have every expectation that there will be segments of it, if not full length, over and over and over. I was the news director in New York when that flight 833 or something crashed into Far Rockaway Bay. And there were 300 and something people killed immediately. We had super duper technology. So by the time we were on the air live nonstop, we could actually see in the control room, we could see bodies popping up from, because it crashed. Right. And I stood in the control room and, that's only Black executive. It was my call. And I said, we're not showing any of those pictures. And they're like, yeah, but we're not showing those pictures because the trauma to the community of New York City. Now, granted, those people probably came from everywhere, but they boarded a flight in New York, and families and communities are wondering, oh my God. And we're going to show the pictures just because we can. What I'm saying is that somewhere in here, a humanity has to be the overlay, right? So earlier, like when Imani said, I never want to go to a plantation, I cannot. However, if it is a circumstance that is going to approach it from the perspective that I need to have, right? That is more humane and is more understanding, and I will walk away with a further meaning, then I'm okay with it. So for tomorrow, for example, me, what will I do? I'm probably not going to watch television all day because, I've been taken to saying I've been living in a Marvel universe through much of coronavirus because I can escape. I can go into science fiction and stuff like that, and then I come out and take in the bits that I want when I want to. But I'm just not going to put myself in the hands of people who don't understand what trauma is for Black people. And by the way, there are Black people, right? But there are Black people who don't understand what that trauma is. What do they call it now? Black trauma porn?
Yeah.
It's like, it's too much. So when you tell me that George Floyd was lynched because what's his name had his knee on his neck, my mind can imagine it.
Right. I'm like, if you told me he died because the policeman's knee was on it, like I'm cool. Like I understand. I can imagine it. I'm good. I don't need to watch it.
I'm
in real
angry
time.
and I'm
That's
going
disgusting.
to do everything I can to destroy everybody who was involved with that.
Right.
But I cannot. I never finished watching Roots. I just saw that. What's Lena Waithe's the new series that
Them.
well, that one I can't.
Right.
But
Master of None.
Yeah, I saw that Master of None is the second season is happening. Oh, third season is happening, and this time she's the focus of it. And I thought I tried Shy. I was like, I'm gonna I'll read about it if there's anything that I need to read about, but I can't watch it. But
it's a lot. It's our experience brings a lot, and I hear you 100%. 100%. That's why I haven't watched the George Floyd video. I don't need to watch it. There's even something that's coming out now where it's like race-based trauma stressors and what that does to us. And that stuff is real.
Right.
It's real. You feel it.
And to your point about you fulfilling your parents' goal of going to Ivy League, I went to Vassar. My daughter was admitted to that level of school, and I begged her, please don't go there. Go to Xavier. You want to be a doctor? Go to a place where they're not going to say, well, Black people don't belong here. One, and Black people don't have the intellectual capacity to do what you want to do too. And those are the things that existed and still exist in a lot of the settings in Ivy League 7 SIBS type schools. I became a trustee at that college largely to fight all of that. But
I was lucky because right when I graduated from Xavier was right when No Limit came out for the 99 to 2000.
What?
Why did I hear that in his voice?
Of course you did. Of course you
heard
did.
Juvenile's voice. That's
and last week she was beating me up because she said, well, Mom, you're the one who wanted me to go to Freaknik.
I didn't want to go. I was like, I'm not going to Freaknik.
Like, when you're a college student, you got to go to Freaknik.
That's so funny.
It's a cultural thing.
Well, Kirk, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Can you please tell everybody where we can find you online?
Yes. So our website is melaninmeetups.org. Our handles across social are MMUPSX. And then my handle is just, his name is Kirk. And please feel free to send me a message. Anybody has an idea. We're actually launching a Melanin Meetup chapter in Baton Rouge for the Better Together project, which is about memorializing plantations, implementing Ida B. Wells' literature in schools, and then elevating Black thought. So thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you
so much for responding to my call. Like, I just emailed you.
Yeah.
So thank you for responding. Like, he does respond back. Yeah, and you know what? We'd love to keep up with you. So we'll definitely be in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you all.
Yeah, and we live in LA, but we're not from here either.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We got to get coffee once everybody's comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Love to.
All right,
brother. You take care. It's nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Hi. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time just because I feel like I think our lighting is better and it seems to cut off like every 15 minutes or something.
I think you got cheated.
No, it was working before. It was working before, but now it's acting stupid.
Yeah.
That was fun, right? That was really fun.
I think it was.
I thought it was fun.
I enjoyed.
Yeah, I've been trying to get like various people to come, but he responded, so that was really cool.
Well, I like the way he was tentative about whether you all were in the same generation.
No, I mean I get it.
I'm saying the brother was trying to handle it, so it wasn't,
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that only because some people do assume that we are in the same. Whatever, this is stupid.
Yeah, it's not working.
It's not working. Some people do assume that. I guess because I look younger, they're like, oh well, So I'm like, girl, I don't know that. Like, I don't get down like that. Like, that's y'all. Okay. So I just want to put out there. So I mentioned a little while ago during the interview with Kirk that I was on a panel discussion about George Floyd, the anniversary of George Floyd's death. that will be coming on tomorrow, ESPN. Undefeated ESPN. I don't have the information yet, but once I do, I'll post it to social media so you guys know where to watch it. It was a really good panel discussion. It was really, I would say it was kind of like this. Like, I felt like it was a discussion that was moderated by a Black person. It had some real Black people on the panel, so it wasn't. So I wasn't like oh God, here we go. No, it was great. It was great. It was like, y'all should.
Who was the moderator? It's okay.
I can't remember her name, but she is head of diversity and inclusion at ESPN, like in total. So yeah. Speaking of Black trauma porn, so I sent you that article right before you came over here. I don't know if you got the chance to read it. It's not a big deal, but it was about Lena Waithe. Is it Waithe?
I don't know. I say wait.
Okay, let's say wait, because I was like,
yeah, I read it.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't know the whole
thing. It says why the internet has turned on her.
Yeah, and like, look, she's highly sus and suspicious and questionable, and I just, I'm really not somebody who, I'm really not someone who, likes to just kind of punch down and pile onto somebody like when they're just messing up. But I'm like, girl, I didn't know I knew about the Shy and that actor who was Eazy-E in the Eazy-E,
right.
In the NWA movie.
Right. But even back then when that happened and there was the explanation for how it happened, and that line that is quoted in the Slate article that you sent me,
yeah,
which was,
I didn't do it.
I should not have left. In effect, I should not have let her handle this on her own. And I was like,
you shouldn't have left him on.
I was like,
what is wrong with you?
Back then, I was like, now, what does
that? What does that mean?
Because you didn't handle it. And you're the creator, the showrunner, the blah, 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 and all of that. So it's your show.
Right. It's your show. Like, you're allowing this man who terrorized someone on someone else who's an actress. You let him stay in the age of Me Too, right, and said, you know what, it's cool. I'm just hire a female showrunner. It's all good.
But you know what?
What's wrong with you?
Well, I can, he was at that point the lead character.
Right.
He was at that point.
His food truck.
He was the lead character. And, it's just like, look, there came a point where you saw what happened with Kevin Spacey. I'm just kidding. I mean, Kevin Spacey just vanished into thin air. No, he's back. He was on the air this morning. Not he. Franco Nero, whatever that Italian director is casting him in an Italian movie.
How hard is it?
No.
I'm like, how hard is it to just not mess with these people?
Well, the thing is
it ain't like he's poor. He'll be all right.
They're not trying to do it because he's poor or not poor.
Stupid.
I think that there's a level of camaraderie
and whiteness
that exists. Well, but see now again, if we're going back to Lena Waithe,
I'm talking about this situation, but with her, there's something else I wanted to ask.
Well, I'm saying that the overriding focus on people who are in the lead roles and somebody believes that they're going to make money, right? Now, we haven't seen that brother from Shot. We haven't seen him because you know why? Because he's black.
He dried up and disappeared.
Well,
right.
He's black.
And he's black.
Right. But you have Kevin Spacey and people who credited him for being a wonderful actor.
He's so good.
Right. So they're
amazing.
Like, well, he's such a talent. So talented. And he's a white man like me. And I just don't think that
bad.
Right. So,
Well, okay. So Derek Hubbard and hold on. JG07. Okay, so y'all asked, what did Lena Waithe do? Okay, so I knew some of it. I didn't know all of it. So there was the issue that we just raised with the Shy. The other issue is that when there's versus battles, this is going to seem like not a big deal, but it really actually is a big deal. When there's versus battles, you can comment. Like I can comment, I guess, because I have a blue check mark. I'm really not, honestly, I don't really comment on versus that much because I'm usually watching the show, like on Instagram. But she was able to comment, and they would let her comment through, and she was just saying all this like have you ever met a Black person who grew up around a bunch of white people, and when they get around Black people, they don't know how to act? Like they try to overdo it instead of just like falling back and like observing. So she was saying something like, I'm glad I ordered fried chicken and tacos for this D'Angelo versus this versus battle. It was just like she was just doing too much, and it sounded like she was the Black person that she was the only Black person Black people didn't mess with. There was also mentioned, she said something about how when she was 11 in the mid 90s, that was the first time she had heard of Whitney Houston. I'm like, maybe is she an alien? I don't understand. Like Whitney, it's not about Whitney being Black. Whitney Houston was like the biggest pop star ever. So what is, there's that. Then there's the whole issue of, yes, Derek, over the top patronizing Blackness. Then there was the whole issue with the series, the Amazon Prime series, Them, where a woman was raped and then her baby was viciously murdered simultaneously. Right. Then
the Black woman was raped by three white men who took turns.
Right.
And the baby was bashed. And you saw it in a,
was it cat in a bag or something?
It was bashed in a pillowcase, and you saw the blood. I didn't watch it because I couldn't watch it, but there certainly are a lot of descriptions about it, and it was almost like a re-traumatizing.
It was
beyond anything for Black people.
It wasn't even horror. It was inhumane. And so what I was discussing with a couple friends of mine before the show is that, now again, I will say I am not queer, I'm not lesbian, I'm not gay, but I am familiar with people who attempt to overcompensate. And my belief, my kind of, pre-theory is that I'm like, is this somebody who had a hard time reckoning her Blackness and her queerness, and so now that she's queer and accepted, she's like digging into that and kind of leaving the Blackness like on the floor? Like it's just, whatever it is, it's bad.
It happens a lot in Hollywood.
It does, but I think the fact that I just read this article where it was so clearly, like it was like boom, boom, boom. But it was like point after point after point. I was just like, I mean, there's really nothing else to be said.
Mine is completely an impression, and I've worked in and around Hollywood for many years. But depending upon, and this is certainly not a blanket statement, but depending upon the circumstances and the time, sometimes you'll find Black queers who are in positions of great power in Hollywood will do more from the perspective of being queer than from the perspective of being Black.
Yeah.
And so what I don't know is if what happened was maybe there was some losing sight of what that kind of brutality would do to Black people. It's kind of like what I was talking about when we were speaking with Kirk, which is that, this is good picture. This is good picture. This is because what was that guy, Lil Marvin?
No, he said this had occurred to me in a dream. Well, keep it in your
dream. Wait. It occurred to him in a dream, and he was applauded by certain people with whom he shared this.
Right.
Now, and that's where I'm going. You can't stand around and tell Black people that you had a dream that it was that, and what we just described, a Black mother being raped by three white men,
and her
meanwhile her baby is being
swung,
right, and bashed to death. And it's like Black people would go like, wait, hold up.
What are you doing?
Stop. Just stop. Whereas somebody else who's not Like, wait.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Well, it'd be like, wow, that could be. I mean, we've never seen that before.
Seen that. And right? We don't have to.
And it speaks to how and why, when Black people in modern times were awarded Oscars
for being
the roles that they were applauded by Hollywood for filling, right?
Mm-hmm.
The role that Denzel, the role that Halle Berry, the role that what's her name, Monique. Those were despicable. It was
disgusting. I mean, maybe not Denzel, but Denzel had a whole body of work. He should have won for Malcolm X, and we all know that.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen.
I mean, that was stupid.
That was not going to happen. So
I mean, it's very rare that I am someone who's like, do not mess with this Black person. But she got I'm just like, girl, you got a lot of work to do. I mean, I'm not even talking about her personal life. I know people, like she cheated on her wife or something. I'm not even talking about that.
They're divorced now.
Right. I'm like, your Blackness is in question because of the terrible moves that you have made.
Well,
and there's nothing. I mean, there's like at this point, I don't know what she could do.
I'm not going to take a position about questioning anybody's Blackness.
I
will say that that.
People, why are you not going to take a position?
Well, because I think people who know her need to surround her, right?
Maybe they're enabling her.
Black folks who know her need to surround her and not, sort of kiss up, suck up because. She's now got a name in Hollywood. Here's what we know about Black people who have names in Hollywood. Black people in Hollywood can fall very quickly, and you never see them rise again. It's kind of like, Black coaches in the NBA or the NFL. You can get a white coach who can totally destroy a season and a team, and they get let go, and 18 hours later they got a new job. That doesn't happen for Black coaches. What was the Knicks coach who kept not Jeff Van Gundy? The brother or the original one? Because there's Jeff Van Gundy. Jeff Van Gundy was forever hired, and he's a color commentator right now. Because somewhere along the line, that's my boy, and he's always gonna have a play. And then he gotta come over. I gotta come over too. I know what that's like. You gotta what? I'm saying because Jeff Van Gundy had to come over. I know what that's like. I know what a bad day can be, a bad hair day. I'm gonna have him come for the Cavaliers. I wanted to, when we talked to Kirk, I wanted to thank him and commend him and call him a warrior, because I think it's time that we are able to say out loud who we applaud and for what, right? Yeah. And stop, hide. Well, I can't. If I say that, I got contacted by the White House. What? I got contacted by the White House to see if I'd be interested in a position.
Oh yeah.
And totally genuinely they contacted me, and I was like, well, let me see what this is about. And when they sent me all of the paperwork that I would have to fill out for all the background information, I was like, I'm not doing this. I ain't answering these questions. I ain't going before no Senate panel, because here's what I know.
Were you or were you not in the Nation of Islam?
I was.
Okay.
And just like the dude who asked me years ago, my question to him was, did
I know this is good. I know this next statement's going to be a problem because you went like this. So I already know. Go ahead.
Were you ever involved in the Jewish Defense League? And he looked at me. I said, did you ever go, over to Israel when you were 17, 18 years old? I mean, did you do that? It's a rite of passage. Is it not a rite of passage in your community? It's a rite of passage in my community. I'm the one asking the question. And and what I said was, and listen, you all called me and asked me to come in for an interview.
Right.
So if having been in the Nation of Islam is an issue, we can stop talking right now, because I don't need to work here.
Did they tell you to leave?
You know where that place was? WNBC, where I eventually got hired, and became news director. But it took a long time to get there. But
what did I ask you all that for? That's none of your business.
No, because there were newspaper articles about me being a Nation of Islam.
So,
well, the preamble to the question was something like, "Well, Paula, what would I say? What would you have me say to the very large Jewish community in New York, if we hire you and they ask, why are we hiring a Black Muslim?
You was
said,
telling them my business.
And I said, well, first of all, I am no longer a Black Muslim. I was a member of the Nation of Islam. And
what's up with your history?
And I said, and what you would tell them is whatever you think you should tell them. I don't know what you want to tell them, but I will tell you if this is an issue for you, right? I have a question for you. And then I asked about Jewish Defense League.
And he was like, okay, next question.
This is why I'm telling you. This is why I urge people to figure out how to make your corporate job your side hustle. You have to have a means of income that is not reliant upon you smiling in some white person's face, right? True. So that's my whole, philosophy about living below your means, invest, buy real estate, do whatever. And as I've said, the whole thing about Jamaicans and how, we always got 50 jobs, it's because Jamaicans don't keep their mouths shut.
No, we don't.
And somebody's gonna be like, hey, you can't say that about who you telling you can't say what?
I can say whatever I want.
And so Jamaicans got 4-bedroom house. They only got to sleep in 1 bedroom.
And the escort.
They rent out the other 3.
Escort.
They rent out the other 3. Get the mortgage paid. All that. It's all that. This is how I was taught. That's my daughter how many jobs she got. Why? Because you never know when one's going to come and one's going to go. And what you can't go is, oh my God, how I'm going to pay my mortgage. Oh my God. No. So if you want to be warrior-like and be able to say what you want to say within reason and still live, then, you can't be the person who, if called on the carpet, like he thought he was doing. Well, what do I say? In the Jewish community.
What you gonna say?
I don't know.
Say whatever you want to say.
What do you want me to tell the Black community? Were you in the JDL? Did you go over to Israel and do?
Okay. Okay, wait. I mean, it's true. It's very true. So
no,
I think to your point, I think it's good. I think it was very good that you said something about. I mean, yeah, like, kings and queens and all that, like, that's great. But honestly, and I've been saying this for years, ever since my Uncle Harry said this to me, actually. Like, not everybody, like, we wasn't all kings and queens. That wouldn't even make sense. Okay, that doesn't therefore mean that the people who weren't kings and queens were idiots or peons.
And we ain't trying to take nothing away from anybody.
Right, but when you say king and queen, unfortunately, in this society, a lot of Black people conflate that with, oh, well, I'm just cute and I'm worthy of being worshipped. And that's not what it is. A king and a queen, they rule. Like, you can't just be cute.
Leaders.
And, right. You're a leader, not a follower.
Right.
So, yeah. You got to be a warrior sometimes.
Right. Well,
all the time.
Honestly. For me, it's about being a warrior. It's being at the tip of the spear. We're going to go in there and we're going to do this. And some of us ain't going to make it. But you know what? As long as everybody else behind us is of the same mind, we're going to get there. It'll be all right.
I also would just like to add before we leave that it has been a full 7 days that there has not been a white person infiltrating my space. And I would like to...
Did they watch the show?
I would like to thank the white community for just thank you for leaving me alone. Although I did... So I had to go pick up this chair from World Market. So I had to go to Hawthorne, California yesterday, right? To go pick it up. So but they look really nice. Anyway, my point is that so then we went to go eat at this, like, it was this really cute mall or whatever. And I don't mess with South Bay. I don't mess with the beach cities. I don't mess with nowhere south of Venice.
I would be sucking on my tongue till I get home.
Sorry, but I was so hungry. Mm-hmm. So we went and we ate. And when I tell you, I've never been so offended by food before in my life. Like first I ordered fish tacos. There wasn't one. You know how you see them? Remember they used to have them little videos of people cooking food, and it'd be the white people, and they put the little salt. It'd be 1-2 grains, and then they'd be like, bloop. The little 2 grains be like, oh. So the guy was like, the waiter. I was like, yo,
do you have any seasoning? That's what you get for
so
eating out there.
Well, the problem was this: there was this restaurant whose name I don't remember, and there were a lot of Black people eating there. But when I went there, the hostesses had attitudes, and I was like, you know what? I'm
Were they
out.
white or Black?
One was Black and one was white. They're like, can you hold on? I was like, actually, I don't even need to talk to you. I just want to see the menu. And they were like, okay.
But
I
if
was
you
like,
saw the Black people eating there, that was probably the place to eat.
yeah, but I was like, you're not gonna come. You can't come to me like that.
Well, that's why you got 2 grains of salt.
So I switched it out for a fried chicken sandwich and
That was as bad.
I've never had aioli without salt before, but somehow the chicken was spicy but not salted. My brain was just question marks. I was like, I gotta get out of here. Like, we gotta get out of here. Anyway, it's 6:11 or 9:11 if you're on the East Coast. So I hope that you all have a good week. I hope you guys have a good Memorial Day. We will not be here next week, so we will see you in 2 weeks.
Is that a Black people holiday?
It is. I was about to say it's a Black people holiday. White people try to act like it's the unofficial start of summer. I'm like, y'all made that up. That's new. Like, Memorial Day lets us know listen.
Cookout.
It's
we back to the beginning.
Listen.
Cookout.
It's about to be warm. We about to be very
barbecue.
Comfortable now.
Barbecue.
You know, we getting our feet out. Everybody get your feet done.
I'm finally going tomorrow to get a manicure and pedicure.
Nice.
For the first time.
Don't be out here looking like Myra's feet from Martin. Okay. So anyway, you guys have a good. Look at
somebody asking you eat fried chicken.
I'm not paying attention to her. Yeah, no, because this person also asked about something else. Did I ever smoke ganja when I visit Jamaica? I do, just in case you wanted to know. Plus it's legal now.
I didn't.
Anyway,
but I don't smoke it in, period.
Well, you guys have a good next 2 weeks, and we'll see you in June when it will be Black Music Month.
It will?
Yes, June is Black Music Month.
Okay.
Yeah, at least we get 30 days of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, bye.